Many strange things have been seen across South Africa.
We're two guys on a journey to find the truth. Join us as we explore South Africa in search of the supernatural. Anything from UFOs to the paranormal. You can't dismiss something you don't investigate.
Welcome to Strange SA.
As a child, I used to read a lot of books about ghosts and the paranormal. Ghosts fascinated me, yet terrified me.
We felt like we should do an investigation on ghosts just because, well, it's something that's been with humanity since the dawn of history. We always have these questions about the afterlife and if our loved ones are still with us or not. And in some cases, they just might be.
While scouring the internet, we came across the mystery ghost bus tour. We decided this would be a good place to start our investigation.
Aha, there you are. Right, welcome to the Mystery Ghost Bus Tours of South Africa. Tonight I'm going to show you the phantoms of the view. But first, let's start with Smuts' house. How does that sound?
Sounds excellent. Let's
come along.
The Ghost Bus Tour started at the Smuts House Museum in Pretoria. This is Jan Smuts' house that he actually brought over from India.
This is the spot where Jan Smuts himself appears. His wife used to play the piano over here, and he used to stand next to the piano and sing. And when people have come to visit the house, they see him standing there at the mantelpiece. Yeah, well, I used to do magic and illusion, and I decided that we should have another dimension, excuse the pun. So we thought that ghost bus tours might suit South Africa, especially since there were none. So we based them on the London Ghost Bus and the Jack the Ripper tours from the UK and introduced them to South Africa. Now, you're not going to believe it, but this house actually has traveled across the world. It started in England and then went to India as a British officer's mess. But now the thing with it is that a British soldier had committed suicide when the house was still in India. And his ghost is imprinted on the environment. So wherever the house has gone, so the ghost has traveled with it. And he actually walks along this path over here. And people that visit see this apparition going all the way down this area.
Mark is a very theatrical person. He's the ideal person to make a ghost bus tour a bit more extravagant and a bit more entertaining.
I think their popularity stems from the fact that humans have always been involved with mystery since the dawn of civilization. You think of primitive humans, they would even bury their dead with grave goods because they believed in an afterlife. So it goes back a long, long time. Let me show you a rather interesting area where there actually was once a doorway here in this wall. And that is where one of the other ghosts appears and walks right through the wall. Replay ghosts are really perhaps one of the most interesting because they are the ghosts that most people see throughout their lives. To try and explain what replay ghosts are, if you think about you having a house and you walk through your doorway every day of your life, the energy fields around your body would then imprint onto the environment, what is called the stone tape theory. And then once you've died one day, that energy can replay like a video, and it does just replay over and over again.
From the Smuts house, we made our way to the View in Johannesburg. We couldn't stop thinking about what we might encounter at the second location, although we didn't see any ghosts at the Smuts house.
Well, I said I'd bring you to the View, and the View has a double history. It was the home of Sir Thomas Cullinan, who was a famous diamond magnate in South Africa. And then it was taken over by the Transvaal Scottish Regiment. So, it has a double history and double the amount of ghosts. Are you ready? Follow me. Now, the strange thing is that the staircase you have just walked down has one of the most famous ghosts here at the View, and that is Lady Anne Cullinan, who appears on that very staircase.
Mark continued the tour at the View, teaching us more about the history of the Scottish regiments, as well as some of the history of Johannesburg itself. After the Ghost Bus tour, I felt that we hadn't really gone deep enough into the realm of ghosts. I needed to explore more. I needed a second opinion. I needed an expert.
When doing our research and looking for different paranormal teams in South Africa, we came across SSA01001 and decided we should approach them for an interview.
We found the South African Society for Paranormal Research online. I felt that this would be a good place to continue our search, maybe find a technical, more scientific viewpoint.
We went to Pretoria to go meet SSA01001 at one of the members' homes. Going into the meeting with SSA01001, I felt a bit nervous as this was the real deal. I felt that Mark and his Ghost Bus tour had a nice entertainment factor and it was a great introduction, but suddenly it felt a bit more real. You guys are paranormal investigators, right?
That's correct, yes.
What's your organization's name?
The organization is called SSA01001, and SSA01001 stands for South African Society for Paranormal Research.
Could you explain to us what a paranormal investigator is?
Paranormal investigator investigates phenomena, paranormal phenomena, either to prove it or disprove it, because it's a scientific process. That we use equipment and then we either prove or disapprove that there's any phenomena that exist in a space that people call us out to.
Why would people hire you guys?
To prove, because the biggest problem is that people would experience phenomena, but they're not actually sure what's happening to them. I think, maybe they've got a problem, maybe they don't understand what's happening to them, and then they want us to investigate it.
What is the difference between a ghost and a poltergeist?
Okay, a ghost is normally somebody, a deceased person that has passed over, and the ghost would normally be either attached to a person or a place, where poltergeist is what comes from the German word poltergeist, which means noisy ghost, which is actually, they move objects, like cupboards will open and close, all of those things. So things will start, you'll hear things flying around in the house, the kettles will be switched on and off. We've had stoves been switched on and off, and it's normally what they believe to be attached to a person that actually manifests that energy. To get a full apparition, it doesn't happen very often. It's like the Holy Grail. And that's why we all paranormal investigators are looking for the Holy Grail. It's the full body apparition.
But you guys have seen some things in your investigations.
Yes, you get the wisps, you get the orbs. A lot of times you get light shows for you. It's like little flicks of light around you that you can pick up with a camera. But unfortunately, if you see it, it's not what you're going to get on a camera. So if you tell somebody you saw something and you don't have a proof of it, it never happened.
My first impressions upon meeting SSA01001 were that these were really ordinary people that didn't really seem to fit my idea of what a ghost hunter would be.
What type of dangers could you possibly encounter on your investigations?
It depends on what kind of energy or entities in the space. Normally, if you walk into a space, you'll understand that it's demonic or it's a ghost energy. The way we would determine that is with demonic energies, there's difference in temperature. It would normally be hot in certain spots in the house. There would be a moldy smell, or there would be a sulfur, like sulfur that would burn your nose if it's a lot of demonic energies. The danger with demonic energies is that if you're not aware of how to handle it and you provoke them, you could be scratched, you could be pushed, you could be dragged, you could, anything is possible that can happen to you that can actually harm you. If it's a ghost energy, normally it's a colder temperature. But ghosts can also manifest and move things. But it takes a lot more energy for a ghost to manifest, to move things around. So if you get an angry ghost, then obviously that could, also be some potential danger. But the biggest danger is actually the demonic energy, or people that have done devil worshipping or anything like that have played the Ouija board in the house. You would immediately pick it up when you enter into the space.
I felt that had demons been this prevalent in our society and popping up at every second haunted location, wouldn't they be reported in our media? Wouldn't there be more attention on the demonic phenomenon?
So what would you say is a demon exactly? Because we've been talking quite a bit about demons, but personally I don't really know what they are.
Okay, a demon is a dark entity. It's not like a ghost who is just who's a person that has passed out. A demon has never been in human form, but it needs human form to be able to do certain things. That's why you will get possession.
And because of that, they don't have empathy, they don't have remorse. That's why they are so dangerous. They don't have any feelings or emotions. That's why they will probably pester you until either you die, or the worst comes, we'll go in there and go and clean it for them.
And is there any way you can protect yourself from something like this?
Yes, I mean, obviously we have a kit which we take with. We've got holy water blessed by a Catholic priest. We also take some salt with us. We've got lots of different oils that we make for protection. Before you go on an investigation, the first thing you do is you do your protection.
As we were about to leave, the team quickly came back and said, "We forgot to give you protection." And they provided us with some holy water. And the other thing was some oil that's also holy, that you have to dab on your forehead and on top of your head and in your solar plexus and, I don't know, a bunch of places on your body.
After the interview with Sasper, we felt that we needed another perspective, maybe someone who could talk to ghosts, a medium.
Thank you for having us today.
You're welcome.
So I understand that you're a psychic and a medium.
Yes, I would do both psychic and medium work.
What does it mean to be a medium?
If you're a medium, you're basically really doing crossing over, you've heard the term,
Yes.
and you're working with spirit, you communicate with someone who's passed on. As a psychic, it's a completely different thing, you're doing more your future predictions for someone.
When you're crossing over, is that something like, is it involuntary? Can ghosts cross over to you?
Well, there's different ways, because obviously if I'm going to get a client in who wants to communicate with someone that they've lost, then I try and communicate with that person or spirit. Not always possible. If they're ready to come through, they come through. It could be that somebody else comes through instead. I don't see spirits as grey figures or black figures. I see spirit as they would have appeared when they passed, or if it was a child, perhaps as they would have appeared later on in their life.
Oh, wow.
And that enables me to give you a full description of that person. And that's one thing that I really do as a medium. If I work as a medium, I always ask that whoever I communicate with must give me something very specific that you can confirm that was the person.
So would you say that this ability can be developed, or do you have to be born with it? Is it?
No, this isn't a special ability that is just a few. Think about this. You've got senses, and you're taught that you only have 5 senses as a child. but in fact we have sex, and I can prove we have sex. Have you ever driven with your vehicle and you get to a place and you just know there's going to be an empty parking right outside the door? You just get that feeling. It's that gut feel. It's your sixth sense. Everybody has a sixth sense. It's what you would call intuition.
And you can develop that sixth
You can
sense
develop
and
it.
train it.
Yes.
A strange thing happened as we were leaving. Diva said to Gideon, "Nice knowing you." To me, she said, "Nice meeting you."
Thank you very much. We learned a great deal, and it was a great experience, and
It's a lot to take
we're ready
in.
for the world, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking at the world with new eyes now.
Good. I'm glad.
Thank you
Nice
very much.
knowing you.
Thanks a lot.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Thinking back on our meeting with Diva, I really think that, there is something really good about what she does. You either go there to communicate to a family member and ask advice, or to get closure. And that, I think, is something that certain people do need and is very good for them.
After everything that we had learned, we needed to experience a ghost hunt for ourselves. We joined Phoenix Paranormal on their investigation of the old Heidelberg jail.
On the drive to Heidelberg, I felt quite nervous. It was our first night shoot in an abandoned prison. Plus, Diva said, "Nice knowing you."
On the drive down to Heidelberg, I was apprehensive. I didn't know what to expect. I hoped that we would capture a ghost on camera.
Is het die? Kijk, yes, it's tiny.
Upon arrival, we met Phoenix Paranormal and we decided to go explore the prison a bit. We identified where we want to catch some ghosts and they proceeded to set up their equipment. These guys were really professional with a lot of kit. Anu, thank you very much for having us. Can you tell us more about Phoenix Paranormal and what you guys get up to?
Phoenix Paranormal is a paranormal research institution that we established 2 years ago with myself and Shemaine Roux. Basically what we do is we look for paranormal activity in haunted locations.
So tell us a bit more about why you brought us here today.
Well, we brought you to the old Heidelberg jail because it's one of the oldest buildings in Heidelberg. It was first a home for the underprivileged and then a hospital and then it was a jail. But most important, we were here before and we caught some awesome activity for ghost activity. And we're going to see what we're going to get tonight. We use various pieces of equipment to measure and record paranormal activity. First of all, we use a DVR system, which is this piece of equipment here. It records basic infrared cameras so that we can review it later on. Now, the theory out there is that with the infrared spectrum, it's a larger spectrum than the normal visible spectrum, so there's a better chance of capturing paranormal activity, which is why we do it in the dark. Other pieces of equipment, standard torch, digital cameras with the IR filter removed so that we can capture better IR light, as well as a SPF 50, which is also known as a ghost box. This device works as a basic FM radio which scans frequencies automatically, if I can put it basic like that. We also use an EMF meter, which measures electromagnetic fields. The theory out there as well is as soon as a spirit or ghost pops up, then it produces electromagnetic fields, which we can capture with this device. Lastly, we also have our audio recorders, which is basically our gold. Most of our paranormal activity gets recorded on this.
As both night and the temperature fell, the atmosphere turned eerie.
Just before the stakeout began, Fraser and myself went aside just to apply some protection that was provided by Sasper. We sprinkled some holy water, dabbed some oil, and we're ready to go into that prison.
Okay, this is some of the oil that we got to ward ourselves with. It's supposed to keep evil spirits out. So it goes on the crown of the head in several places, the third eye, which is here in the middle of the forehead, also on the throat, and some other spots on the body.
We met up with a team who gave us a crash course in what to expect and how to behave, and then we had a silent prayer to ask for protection against any evil spirits out there.
EVP session nummer 2. Ons is hier in Salmon van As se kamer.
Die enige iemand. Wil jy ons 'n naam gee?
Guys, could you please tell us, Why are people so fascinated with ghosts or these entities? Why do people like yourselves go out and hunt? You know, what's the motivation behind it?
Well, I think the main thing is people are drawn to the unknown, and more than that is their life after death, in short. And I think that's the bulk of it.
A lot of people we help as well, they just want answers. They want to know, are their loved ones still there? Have they moved on?
Your approach to investigations, you don't use any mediums or anything like that. You guys are mostly scientific.
Yes, we definitely do things as scientifically as possible, if you can call it science in this field, but we don't like using mediums because you can't back it up with anything, with solid evidence.
So do you often find that you debunk the things that you're investigating more often than you actually find evidence?
I think it's very important. Things must be debunked because not everything is paranormal. So there must be some logical way for things to happen. If you can't debunk it, then you can only look at it possibly as paranormal.
While you've been investigating, have there been any cases that have stood out to you that perhaps couldn't be debunked?
There was definitely one that stood out. It was an abandoned hospital in Gauteng. We had loads of evidence that we've captured, ranging from shadow people, loud, audible EVPs.
For me, I had a couple experiences. My first experience ever, I was shoved off my feet and it completely sideswiped me. That was my introduction to the paranormal.
Next, we had to do isolations. Gideon went first. He looked scared.
See you on the other side.
Cheers.
I was dreading my own turn going into the room.
They put me in my own cell in the pitch black darkness and said, go find yourself a ghost. Very freaky. I sat there, didn't know what to expect, and I started out calling. Is there someone there? Hello? Enig iemand hierso? And nothing. Anyone making knocking sounds at the door? Asked again, is anyone there? And then dung dung on the door. Oh! I didn't know what happened. It was unsettling, unnerving. Hello?
When Gideon emerged from his isolation, he looked freaked out. He had heard something. I was terrified of my turn.
I'm hearing strange noises in the room just past the bathroom.
Sitting alone in the darkness was an interesting experience. I felt silly calling out questions into the void, expecting answers on a voice recorder.
Do you feel that you were perhaps mistreated? Okay, well, I think this is done.
Tonight, you guys, your software picked up something that freaked our director out. And we'd just like to know, how close to the real thing was that?
Nou, my...
Maar Arne, dat iemand dol.
Daar was iemand ook gewees voor dit. Hy het nou... Sien, daar het julle uitgestap.
Okay.
Sien, dis wat ek wil kyk of dit nie net glitch is. Daar het julle van die deur gepraat. Daar tel hy op. Daar verdwyn julle, daar staan iets. It was what we could see, first of all, pretty real. The software we use doesn't lie. We're going to probably watch it over and over and over and over for 100 times until we can probably say, you know what, that was legitimate. But so far it looks like legitimate entities just inside the doorway, where we could actually plot out the 3D mapping of that entity. But so far it looks legit.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity for us to join you on an investigation.
Really enjoyed it. Was a learning curve.
Is there anyone here?
The stakeout with Phoenix was an amazing experience. Making our way home from the investigation, I couldn't help but feel that a part of me had been disillusioned. My childhood fascination with ghosts was over. I had finally experienced the ghost hunt for myself, and I came away from it believing in ghosts less.
Like I said in the beginning, I'm not sure if I really believe in ghosts, but after all our encounters in this episode, I really do think there is something there. And again, it's something that's been with the human history since we can remember. So watch over your shoulder. There might be some ghosts lurking there.